channel. Last time I know that I did a video that was kind of unexpected and unplanned, but I kind of just felt like I needed to get that off my chest before moving forward with the channel. I want to let you guys know the different type of content videos that I'll be making. Obviously majority of them are going to be based on this one theme that our channel is about, but since that's out of the way, I wanted to go ahead and officially introduce myself to you guys. My name is Madeline, or Maddie. Feels kind of weird saying my name. I don't know, I always preferred saying Madeline in Spanish. That was kind of weird knowing that like majority of the people are going to be watching this are English speakers, but whatever. So yeah, my name is Maddie and I am the creator of the Butterfly Diary, aka this channel. And today I kind of wanted to finally share with you guys the mysterious health condition that I mentioned in my last video. And so yeah, so I was officially diagnosed May 5th of last year, 2020, with an autoimmune disease, as I mentioned, and its official name is systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE, or as you guys might have heard of it as just lupus. I've heard of it from when Selena Gomez first revealed that she had been struggling with that for a couple of years. But honestly, I didn't even know about this prior to my diagnosis. Like even after, why is my voice getting off? Excuse my voice. So like I was saying, I had never heard about the disease in my whole entire life. Like even after they told me this is what you have, it was really hard for me to understand what exactly it was, how it was affecting my body. After all this stuff with like Selena Gomez, I was expecting to find more like resources to try to educate people on the condition, and unfortunately that's not the case. So it still is pretty difficult for people to kind of understand what exactly the disease is. If you ask health professionals, even they have still a lot of difficulty understanding the disease. There's not a lot known about the cause. There's no cure for the disease. There's a different variety of treatments that you can go about it, but there's no definite, you know, like study guide or that will help you fully grasp what the condition is. Even in like those groups and stuff, people are always asking stuff all the time because everyone's like basically still out. Doesn't matter if you had the disease for like 2 months or 2 years, like struggling, we're all still trying to understand how to handle it. There are signs and symptoms that you can look for that are present and are specific to lupus. Your basic methods of destruction and things like that. But even then, like I didn't really have that to help me understand, you know, when I first got diagnosed. I'll just start by saying that, oh my gosh, my voice is like I would go online and just see like other people talking about their experiences, you know, talking about ANAs and all this stuff in their lab records and everything like that and results. And I had no idea what the heck they were talking about. I didn't know if it was because they would do like self-research or they would know certain things and certain terms like that because they've had the disease longer than me. But I just honestly, there was a lot that I didn't know for a really long time, even after going to talk to my specialist and things like that. So yeah, I just want to throw out there, I am in no way throwing shade to any of my specialists, doctors, or whatever that I saw throughout this whole entire past year and the ones that I continue to see. But of course, you know, it is a little bit frustrating because you do always want to know as much as you can, you know, how exactly you got to the place that you're in now. It's going to be affecting you in the long term, short term. There's also a very minimal amount of time that they have between you and their next patient. So, and then again, you know, it was all pretty much new to me, so I didn't exactly know what questions to ask. So by no means was it anyone's fault, and once again, I am just going to point out, by no means am I a health professional. I always think that your primary source of information should always be your physician, your rheumatologist, whoever it is that you're seeing. They are always going to be your best bet for any questions that you might have on your situation, because of course everyone's situation is different. They can see your lab results and everything. This is just a general channel, I guess you can say, of my personal experience and what I've learned from self-research and things like that. So yeah, hello. Okay, my voice is probably just gonna be like this for the rest of the video. I don't know, I think it's just because I'm not used to talking a lot. Like most days I'll just be like silent. I don't know, if there's no one around I won't talk or anything like that. So My voice is just kind of adjusting, and you know, don't make fun of me.
So let's just start
by asking what exactly is SLE. So SLE is an autoimmune disease, and for those of you who don't exactly know what that is, it's basically just a condition that has your body attacking itself. Our bodies have an immune system, and that immune system is what controls and dictates what exactly enters our body and stays in our body, what's basically not even given entrance in the first place. And so basically that immune system is there to protect us from any harmful things that might want to cause damage. But what happens in the case of an autoimmune disease like lupus, your immune system is basically confused. So it doesn't know the difference between, let's say, harmful bacteria and your own body. Specifically in SLE, a lot of that damage is determined by the amount of chronic inflammation that occurs in your body. Yeah, so I have here, I have like a little whiteboard here. Let me just I have here this little diagram for you guys that I drew, just so you guys know. It's just a very general diagram that I drew here. And so this is how the system works. So you usually have a barrier that's usually like your skin or something, and that's going to prevent you from having any type of germs come into your system. But let's just go ahead and, for the sake of this, this little journey is gonna somehow break this barrier. It'll usually come in contact with one of these little soldiers standing by. They're called macrophages. And so what happens when one of these germs will come in contact with the macrophage, they will usually set off an alert to the rest of the immune system so that they're able to fight off this germ or whatever. So you have your neutrophils, you have your T cells. Neutrophils are usually the ones to fight off bacteria, T cells are for your viruses, and then you also have your B cells here. So usually in a normal system, this will all be activated and fight off this infection or this germ or whatever before it gets worse. Oh, I also forgot to mention, so your B cells are also there. Very important. They play a huge role in a lot of autoimmune conditions, because these are the ones that usually, let's say you have a cold or something, they'll be the ones to create antibodies, and those antibodies are basically there to remember whatever way that this germ or whatever was attacked in the first place. In that way, if you come in contact with something like a cold again, it already has that memory of that infection in your body, so that it's able to get rid of it faster the next time that it comes in contact with it. So yeah, so that's basically how that works. Now a lot of the times, like for example, when my mom would tell people about my condition and stuff, they would like automatically ask like, oh well, is that like cancer or something? And no, so a lot of the time, excuse my voice, I don't know why it's like raspy. But anyway, like when my mom would tell people about my condition, they would automatically ask like, oh, is that like cancer? And she would have a lot of difficulty explaining that no, it's not really like cancer. Cancer has a lot more to do with like cell mutation, cell change. It has a lot more to do with your stem cells, your epithelial cells. That's not really related, I guess, too much to what happens in lupus, but it does often get confused with other types of autoimmune diseases. Yes, there are a lot of different types of autoimmune diseases. You have psoriasis that has to do with
skin cells. Crohn's disease has a lot to do with your gastrointestinal tract. I don't know what's another one. Rheumatoid arthritis has a lot to do with inflammation in your joints.
These are all different inflammatory diseases that specifically attack that one area. The difference in what makes lupus unique is that it actually has a broader range of inflammation. It can attack any one of these organ system, multiple organ systems. So that's kind of just the general understanding of what lupus is. But me being me, I was always like curious about how exactly this came to affect me, because it basically came out of nowhere. Like I was always a pretty healthy person growing up. Obviously, like I was a little bit insecure about my weight and stuff, but honestly, what girl hasn't? Like, don't even tell me that you were never insecure about something like that. All girls go through that, and You know what, like, you guys notice, like, especially with like women, how they always have to go through some sort of like breakup or some huge traumatic event in their life to realize what they've already have. And we shouldn't have to go through something like that, some sort of sickness, to really realize the things that we should have appreciated all along. They are fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that my soul knows. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit you with that scripture.
Take the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God, Jesus Christ.
God doesn't make mistakes with what he designed. That would be like calling the Grand Canyon ugly, like, or Fiji. A lot of people say that Fiji is pretty and stuff. It's like, imagine that you were Fiji and you are over here calling yourself ugly. Like, no, people look at you like you're crazy. I'm getting off track. What was I saying? So yeah, like, to me it was weird that like something like this would happen to me, because I was always an active, healthy person. Like in middle school, high school, I played a lot of sports. Even in college, you know, I did a little bit of volleyball and stuff like that. It wasn't enough for me to just know a definition. I really wanted to know. Like I said, doctors don't have time for a lot of one-on-one time. You just really only have time for something like a definition. Overall, you know, I just learned that lupus is an autoimmune inflammatory disease. It's gonna be prone to attacking both your foreign and your healthy body tissue. So depending on where that inflammation occurs, that's gonna determine what kind of symptoms you end up experiencing later on. So there's this little summary that I found. It kind of just explains like how exactly this ends up happening. And let me just see if I can pull it up. Okay, so I found it. So basically, something will trigger your immune system to turn that response on. Like, usually, you know, when something goes and attacks and that response goes off, so that will usually happen. Something will go ahead and activate that, and when I mean something, I refer to that cause that I mentioned. We still don't know exactly what causes lupus, but once that immune response is triggered, they're gonna end up attacking your normal cell and body tissues. So usually once that happens, like I mentioned, your B cells, their job is to create antibodies so that later on it'll be able to attack it more efficiently. But in this case, you know, it's not necessarily gonna go in our favor, because in this case the B cells are gonna make antibodies against our own healthy body tissue. And so as they continue to attack the cell, they create these larger complexes called antigen-antibody complexes. They're basically these clumps of cells, and because of their size, they're gonna get stuck in all these different parts of your body, different organs, and that's what ultimately causes the inflammation. So it can also affect different things like your blood count, your red blood cell, your white blood cell count, your platelets. It can even go as far as affecting your phospholipids, and that's basically the main part of your cell membrane. So that's basically the entire outside portion of your cell, and when that thing is deteriorating, it's basically going to cause cell death, because you have nothing else to hold the cell membrane. And so because your symptoms depend on where these complexes get stuck and where you're getting your inflammation, I was going to talk about all the different types of symptoms that you can get from lupus, but I'll just have to go ahead and make a part 2 to this video. I forgot there's so many symptoms to look after, and it's just a whole other complicated issue. There's symptoms that are directly a result of lupus, and then there's actually symptoms that can be a result of things like your treatment. A lot of the times doctors will confuse lupus with other health conditions because of the symptoms that look so similar to those other autoimmune diseases that I mentioned. So in turn, that can make even the diagnosis process difficult. I'll be making another video on, you know, different ways that you can find out, or to just kind of monitor if you have by any chance lupus. But anyways, yeah, I'll be talking about that in another video along with the symptoms. I just wanted to end the video by saying that it's important to recognize that not every case is the same. Every patient is different. Even if you have the same type of lupus, because there are different types of lupus, not everyone is going to be experiencing the same symptoms. You're not going to necessarily receive the same treatments and things like that. So if you have a different autoimmune disease, maybe you're just watching this for someone that you know that has lupus. By far, I would say my faith was the main support system that I have, but right after that are the people that were willing to educate themselves, do the research, you know, just so that they had a better understanding of why maybe on certain days I didn't want to get out of bed, why I needed help getting up to go to the bathroom that was like 3 feet away, why unfortunately there was a season where I just had to be changing my sheets every night, things like that. So despite what society might think, I know that our first goal should always be to serve one another, and we can't really do that unless we're putting in the effort to understand what the person might be going through. Anyway, so that's the end of this video. Stay tuned for part 2. I'll be talking about the different symptoms, different ways that you can know if you have lupus. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that other stuff that you kids know how to do so you can continue to raise awareness on this cause. And if you don't, I'm kidding, no. Don't come after me. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Bye.